Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Thank you for joining us. Tonight we have a show full of hot topics, talking about everything everyone's talking about. This is our last show before we go on our summer break, but we will be back in August with brand new shows, and we'll be excited about that. I want to remind you all over social media, online everywhere, our website, StephenKnightShow.com. We have our Instagram, and of course, if you want to watch us on our YouTube channel, please do so, the Stephen Knight Show. And check out our merch. We definitely appreciate you. Everybody, how y'all feeling? My family, y'all good?
Yes, sir. Happy Monday.
It's Monday. It is Monday.
All
right. Well, our question of the day is, what's the most important thing you've learned from your parents? Lynia.
Oh man, perseverance.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
That's a good one. That's a good one. What about you, Chike?
I would say work ethic.
Yeah. Yeah. Nayyir?
Saying I'm right there. Persistence, just kind of combining the two, persevering and really working hard and kind of just breaking through.
Yeah.
I've seen them push through a lot together, internally and then externally, some things. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can I add into that, Stephen? You know, one of the things that I learned from my dad, what he used to say to me all the time, and I pass it on to my niece and nephew, he would never allow me to say I can't. Anytime that I say I can't, and especially in the beginning, I got my butt whooped when I said I can't. There's nothing on this earth that you can't do if you put your mind to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the biggest thing I've learned is knowing your worth. You know what I mean? When I first moved to Atlanta, I was doing a lot of performing, and my mom would always say, "Did they pay you?" I said, "No." Okay. And so then I would do more performing. "Did they pay you?" "No." She said, "Listen, a person will tell you, well, you're telling people what you're worth. They don't need to pay someone to do it. It's call Steve, he'll do it for free." And so she would always say that. And so that's something, as even with jobs and other things, financial things, I keep that in mind. You tell people what you're worth, you know what I mean? So,
And if they're not willing to give it to you, you need to roll out.
exactly.
That's where I'm at.
Oh, see? Yeah, I know you've been working on that as well. Well, tweet us at home and let us know what's the most important thing you learned from your parents. All right, so hot topics. All right. For months, folks have been waiting for members of the Smith family to address the slap that happened the night of the Oscars in detail. Though all parties involved have not spoken too much about the situation, Jada Pinkett Smith did address the situation in her latest episode of the Red Table Talk, as the show focused on alopecia. Jada said, "This is a really important Red Table Talk on alopecia. Considering what I've been through with my own health and what happened at the Oscars, thousands have reached out to me with their stories. I'm using this moment to give our alopecia family an opportunity to talk about what it is to have this condition and to inform people about what alopecia actually is." While speaking about the infamous moment at the Oscars, Jada continued, "Now about the Oscars night, my deepest hope is that these two intelligent, capable men have an opportunity to heal, talk this out, and reconcile. The state of the world today, we need them both. And we all actually need one another more than ever. Until then, Will and I continue to do what we've been doing for the last 28 years, and as keep figuring out this thing called life together. Thank you for listening." Now, I remember when this came out, reading the comments, even Vivica Fox, she was co-hosting with Carson, covering the Wendy Williams show, hosting Wendy Williams show. And she said that she knows both of them. She's worked with both of them. And it's hard for her. She got a little emotional, she said, but she doesn't feel like Jada she didn't support her husband. He did this for you and you weren't really supporting him. You're pretty much, putting it on them too, kind of thing. And while for me, Will Smith is a grown man, he's responsible for his own actions. He was defending her and he didn't even retaliate until she gave him that look, But I'll ask you, Nayyir, what do you think about her speaking about it? She didn't go into too much detail, but she did speak about it in this way. What are your thoughts?
I did like the last line that her and Will are continuing to figure this thing out together. I do like that part because so often we see that, you know, our people, you know, decide to split and go different directions for whatever reason. We don't know everything that's going on, can't see into their relationship in their lives, but I did like that part of it. And I think it's typical. Her response is in typical entertainment, political fashion. I think she's trying. Someone has helped her to craft that response, probably. And it may even have been with Will's approval, you know, not to get too deep. But I just thought it was typical. And I was glad to hear the very last part of that, which was they're working things out together still, figuring life out and then their relationship and everything else.
Chike, a lot of people want them just to go away, especially her in this Red Table Talk. What are your thoughts?
So I was very interested in watching that episode because I thought the way that it was framed that they were going to address what happened. But what I saw her do was take alopecia and hold it up and then slid what she wanted to stay underneath.
Yeah.
A good politician would. And even in her saying those words, it didn't sound like Jada. You know, Jada's tongue is a little bit different than that. It was very controlled. It was very controlled. It was very architect. It was too formed. I didn't take it as authentic. And right after that speech in the beginning, she slid into the alopecia part. I cut it off because you didn't address any. And the way that they framed it, she's framing it, attaching it to the alopecia, like even if they have to address it later, they didn't already set up the framework of how they want you to feel about it or how they're going to attack it later on. It's going to be attached to the alopecia thing. I need you to feel this is why he did it because I have this situation. Please feel sorry for us. It's not a bad thing, you know, because he was protecting me. That's a grown man that slapped another grown man in the face. Address that part. Alopecia don't have anything to do with that.
Nayyir, what are your thoughts on all of this?
Me being a woman, a Black woman who is affected by alopecia, I don't like the gimmickiness of it, of using alopecia as your step stool in regards to this situation. Because for most Black women, it is serious. And if you look at how the things unfolded, there was a joke that was made. The joke wasn't, I don't feel like it was in bad, just like Vivica said, it wasn't a bad joke. It was technically was a compliment because Demi Moore played the hell out of that role for G.I. Jane. I just don't like the using of alopecia as your, you know, that's what you're sitting on, that's what you're holding on to. I just don't agree with that because that's not what this is about. It's not about alopecia. It's not about alopecia. A lot of people were affected that night when this happened. Will, Chris, Will Packer, everybody that was a part of that production. Like this is beyond, this is more than alopecia. And you're putting the focus on that where you're forgetting about everything and everybody else that this night was about. And there was some physical contact that needs to be addressed and why you felt comfortable enough to go up on that stage and do what you did. It wasn't in the name of alopecia. You know, I don't watch Red Table Talk, so there's not an interest for me to watch it if it ever comes to that point when they're talking about it. I'm good.
Yeah. And again, like they said, Chris Rock didn't even know she had alopecia. You know, he was just talking about her having her rocking a bald head. But yeah, a lot of people, they said this Red Table Talk needs to go away. And I think the more that I don't get their point. I know they're trying to be transparent and trying to have these deep conversations. But I think it's getting to the point now that people don't want to hear it from them, you know, from Jada, really.
Is it transparent or is it strategic?
Yeah.
I find that they're using that platform to put out the fires of the Smith brand.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, over the years, the things that have come up in the family get addressed on the Red Table Talk, and it's like pouring water on the fire that was created.
Mhm.
Let us explain. Let us explain. Let us explain on the Red Table. We'll tell you everything. We'll tell you everything.
So what do you think the slap was about, El Boogie and Chike? If you don't think it was about, if you don't agree that it was about alopecia, which I know they've been saying that since the beginning, that's why the joke was so hurtful to, I guess, Jada. What do you all think it was about then? You think there's a problem with Chris Rock? You think they have a problem with Chris Rock or something deeper than that?
Go ahead, Chike.
Well, I'll say this. She may feel some type of way because she has alopecia, right? But the beef actually started when they decided to boycott the Oscars and Chris hosted. They were mad at Chris because he hosted the Oscars when they wanted him to boycott. And he was making jokes about them back then. But the thing about the alopecia, it's even if it did start out that way, it has now augmented and it's not about that way. But they found that, okay, this is a connection. This is a connection that we can make to this to gain sympathy. Because another thing that she did, I said it off after I heard her speech in the beginning, I did watch maybe about 10 to 15 seconds of when it went into the actual talk. And the first thing you do is pull up kids that have alopecia to get some tears going. Like, it was just too contrived for me. I cut it off.
That's fair. I understand what you're saying for sure. Now I remember that.
Yeah. And I don't, and even then, I mean, if you tack on, because he didn't boycott, because he was hosting that year, right, Chike? He hosted that year that they boycotted, and they had an expectation of people that were close to him, especially Black people, to do the same thing. And of course, there were jokes back then. But if you tack on that he didn't boycott back then, and he didn't know about your alopecia, other people have said worse about this woman. But this is what you're hanging your hat on. This is what you're hanging other people. He could have gone to some dude in the street if you really wanted to hit somebody. It just doesn't. It's just you know how people, like politicians, feed us that nonsense to get us to vote for them. Don't feed me this alopecia thing and hang your hat on that, because then it's like you're using, like, the commercials they used to show us with the African kids, and if you pay us $1, they had them kids acting sad and looking all hungry and stuff. They said it's a production.
Yeah,
it's a production.
Yeah. Okay, I get it, and I'm sorry to drag that on, Stephen. I was kind of curious of where their perspectives lie behind that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, BET has announced its nominees for the 2022 BET Awards, and it has internet talking. Doja Cat is leading the pack of 6 nominations. The Grammy Award winner is nominated for Best Female R&B Pop Artist, Best Female Hip Hop Artist, Album of the Year for Planet Her, BET Her Award for Woman Video of the Year, and Best Collaboration for Kiss Me More featuring SZA. BET's press release also shows that Ari Lennox and Drake are tied with 4 nominations. Ari's hit Pressure landed her nominations for the Video of the Year and BET Her Award for Pressure. The DC native is also nominated for Best Female R&B Pop Artist. In addition, she received 1 more BET nomination for her feature Summer Walker's song Unloyal. Last but not least, we have to get into Drake's nominations. Drake has 4 nominations, including Best Male Hip Hop Artist, Best Collaboration, and Video of the Year for Way Too Sexy featuring Future and Young Thug, and Album of the Year for Certified Lover Boy. While several other artists were nominated, Lil Nas X disappointed in not receiving any nominations at all. And now, in a deleted tweet, the industry baby wrote, "Thank you, BET Awards, an outstanding 0 nominations again, Black excellence." Now, many fans of the rapper took to his defense, calling out BET for not including him, but nominating Jack Harlow. One wrote, "BET didn't nominate Lil Nas X, but know who they did nominate? Jack Harlow," another tweeted. Lil Nas X was the most streamed male artist in 2021. Did not get one nomination, but Jack Harlow and Bruno did. BT Awards and NAACP Awards, T is clocked. As the conversation continued, Latto expressed her excitement about being nominated for Big Energy, the rapper tweeted. So a lot of people are saying Lil Nas X, obviously he's wildly popular. He's a Black artist, and Jack Harlow is a white artist. A lot of people are saying there was this debate over whether he has white privilege in the hip hop game. Lil Nas X said that he's having to fight harder because he's not only Black, but he's also gay. So, Chike, do you think that there's something to this Lil Nas X not getting nominated and Jack Harlow get nominated, or do you just think they just went with, they thought he just deserved it?
I do know that Mr. Harlow is widely popular right now.
Mm-hmm.
I have noted that the awards, more so now than of yesteryear, cater to popularity as opposed to true talent. It's about followership, likes, streams, as opposed to the creativity that it used to be. I would hope that Lil Nas X doesn't ride this all the way out and use that as a platform for sympathy. Yes, he's Black. Yes, he's gay. Why can't he be an artist that just happens to be that? Don't use that as a fighting tool. Don't do that. Just get him next time. Do something else. Keep being the creative person that you have been. Keep shocking them like you have been. Let that make you a better artist. Don't do that, because I think that's in poor taste.
Yeah, I think Lil Nas X is largely popular. I mean, he's performed at the MTV Awards, the Grammys, and all these other awards. And it is interesting that, I'm not saying that that's the reason why he's not nominated because he's Black and gay, but the fact that it is surprising he's not nominated, to me.
So I'm sorry, Stephen. I saw this report. Matter of fact, it was last weekend, and it was very interesting to me because they were talking about, I think it was American Music Awards, and they were talking about best R&B artist. Best R&B artist was Doja Cat. Doja Cat technically isn't an R&B artist. Doja Cat is a hip hop artist.
Yeah.
The argument was Summer Walker should have been the R&B winner of the awards because she probably had the most streams and the most popularity in female R&B music. And then there's some type of beef now going on between Doja Cat fans and Summer Walker fans, because this now is based on not necessarily talent or the art that you put out, but popularity.
Yeah. Lynia, what are your thoughts?
I don't know if anyone watches Drink Champs, but Tank was on Drink Champs. Awesome interview, and he gave a example, and he said was Sam Smith. You put Sam Smith in the song "Stay With Me," heavy radio rotation.
Yeah.
Tank had that same song, minimum rotation. Minimum airplay, but Sam Smith will be all over this joint ski. That's a real thing. I couldn't name you or sing you one lyric from a Doja Cat song. I don't know who that broad is. I will say this. It's definitely about popularity. It's not about talent. And I'm not saying whether she's talented or not. I'm just speaking in general. It's about popularity and your likes and your fan base and what you got going on. Because on the flip side of that, being an actor, I've run into casting or agents wanting to know what your followership is. And I'm like, that ain't got nothing to do with the years and the hours that I put in working and taking these classes, going to these workshops and doing what I need to do to hone my craft. how many people follow me have nothing to do with that. Because that's not where the work goes in. So unfortunately, the world that we're living in now, it's you see it with a lot of these people who are, these Instagram influencers, or these people who are, they're Instagram famous. Like, that's really a thing. Because you done did some skits and now you've blown up and you went viral. So now you're nothing unless you got that blue check, which is ridiculous. So, I mean, it's all semantics, and it's all politics. And do I want to say it might be some, I mean, there's always colorism, because Doja Cat is lighter than, Summer Walker. Doja Cat fits the spectrum of the American Music Awards. Summer Walker does not.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep it all the way funky.
Yeah.
So, but then it's amazing how, especially like a Jack Harlow or whatever, how they can come over to our side and they get all embraced in these award shows, but we got to fight for their award shows and to get on there or to even be recognized on that side.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting you mentioned about the followers, because we had a guest. He's on, I can't think of his name, but he's on Soap Opera, and we had him a few years ago, and he said that he's lost jobs because he doesn't have millions of followers on Instagram. So it's interesting you said that. We about to say, Chike?
I got a question for you and Nayyir, and it's about, because both of your business, is music. Do you think that the mainstream industry is likened to put foot on the necks of independent artists? Because when you're an independent artist, you're taking control over your art so you can have ownership of it. Do you think that the mainstream music industry is using tactics like this to put their foot on the necks of independent artists to get them to conform to mainstream contracts, like to get back into mainstream? Because
well, I think it goes back to what I'm sorry. I think it goes back to what Lynia said. If you have the following, it just depends on if you have when you have that following, that's your fans. Those are your fans, and that's who people pay attention to. That's why you have so many people. I know we get them all the time. People soliciting us for us to buy followers and things like that, because that's what people look at. If you notice when they Entertainment Tonight or shows like that, when they talk about a celebrity, they'll mention them. Before they talk about their accolades, they'll say, who has 5.2 million followers on social media. That's like their tagline. Now, what are your thoughts on that? On Chike's question.
Yeah. To answer his question, I think the industry as a whole, because the industry they have meetings that they all go to, right? I think the industry as a whole, each of these agents work together for the best business opportunities and for the smaller institutions and the larger institutions. And I definitely think that is a tactic that they use, Chike. This is part of the way that they push in and push out for the best business opportunities. So the best business opportunities tend to revolve around complete ownership. But when you can't get complete ownership, then you make business the way you can that benefits you, at the time. So I think they look for these types of opportunities to squeeze out these models of independent artists really trying to do it their way, because independent artists, the ones that are truly independent, not these guys, rest in peace, but Young Dolph, he came out and admitted later he was not a truly independent artist, and he showed the reason why. But there was one who actually was killed by a black guy, who was truly an independent artist that was making this model very transparent to the world. And there were a lot of artists that were learning from him. Nipsey Hussle, he was one of and there are some others that are pseudo independent. Nipsey was a true independent artist. His crew will tell you, industry executives will tell you, he made deals how he wanted to make deals, and it did not give up any ownership for him and his brand and his family. That was an independent artist. So do I think they want more of those guys? Absolutely not. Do they want more of those guys with those followings so that they can monetize off of them? Absolutely. Right. You're dead on with that, Chike, in my opinion.
Yeah.
From the little insight that I have into that industry, and you know how big it's huge. It's huge, but having just a little bit of insight, that is a very prevalent theory that I would side with.
Absolutely. Well, listen, let's take a quick break. We'll come back, more hot topics right back after this.